All right, let's continue with this story now. Brenda Madumise-Pajibo, activist for women's rights and director of Wise for Africa, joins us now via video link as we shine a spotlight on gender-based violence and femicide in light of celebrity pastry chef Thembekile Letlape's murder. Ma'am, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I want to, in fact, start here. I mean, this is just one of those stories that we are hearing so much of in this country. And in fact, we do know that this individual who's now accused of Thembekile's murder has appeared briefly in court. But this case also just shines a spotlight in terms of no one is actually safe, against gender-based violence, against femicide, and any other sexual crime, in fact, that women are constantly faced with. What for you does this case particularly symbolize, as you start looking at just the merits around this case and how this man was on the run for 2 days?
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me. One, I think what it highlights is we have difficulty in this country with accountability. The fact that he thought that he can disappear, he can run away from law enforcement, and who was aided by others who made it possible for him to hide him. It tells you that many people think that they can get away with such acts of crime and brutality and killings and murder of other human beings. And what we have been propagating for the longest of time is the swiftness and the promptness in the police and the justice system in its entirety. That once and in this case, by the way, you had many friends and family members being the ones ensuring that this individual is being looked for, right? So it was a concerted effort by the friends and the families to make sure that this man is apprehended. And it's a travesty when we are forced as citizens to then start to ensure that the police do the work that they're supposed to do. There's absolutely nothing wrong in assisting the police and pointing them in the right direction. But it cannot be that it is an obligation on the part of citizens that they must continue to do so. What we are propagating for, and we will continuously propagate for, is that the swiftness and the promptness has to be seen all the time so that the confidence is restored back to the citizens that the justice system is effective and can work.
And I mean, when you consider that, her father found her body after, as you also say, that friends and family had been looking for her, and that they actually haven't attended any of the court processes, it's something that we don't talk a lot about. And that, of course, is how gender-based violence, how femicide really affect ordinary South African citizens who, go about their daily lives just trying to, adhere to the laws of this country. And yet you have people who think that they can get away with such crimes.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's trauma for the family to be put through again, to listen to all of this, right? And in their minds they know that it's endless postponements, right? So it's a bail hearing, a bail application. It's individual abandoning the bail application, and then a legal representation. So the case gets postponed because of all these issues that must be attended to, because we've got a constitution that sets out that you've got the right to legal representation, you've right to a fair hearing, you've got the right to bail. So all of these things must be done. And if you are a family member, a parent who must sit through all of that, it's traumatic on their part. And I think they have been saving themselves from going through those emotions. And I'm sure they are waiting when the trial starts and whether they will be able to attend and hear it firsthand on why their daughter had to be brutally murdered in the manner that she was.
And in fact, in this particular case, it was meant to take place in the High Court, but was then moved back to the Magistrates Court. But I wonder if you can also just, give your comment around just the brutality, against women, because we're also covering the other case in Limpopo where these two women, we're hearing, after they were murdered, of course, their bodies and the remains were then thrown into this pigsty by the farm owner and some of the workers. I mean, what does that then say, in as far as really not seeing women at all as human beings?
Yeah, so when we talk of misogyny, and I mean it's around the hatred of women. When you despise, you've got disdain, you are contemptuous towards women because one number of things and factors that come into play. You believe the way you're socialized that women are inferior, they are weak, they are your possession because you think you own them. And once you believe that you own another human being, especially someone that you believe you are doing her a favor by telling them that you love them and that's your possession, you think you can do anything to them, right? That's why you become violent towards them. That's why you think that no one else can have them. You are willing to kill her so that no one else can ever fall in love with them again. So this is the hatred that we see displayed in many of these cases, that the brutality, the anger displayed in how women are killed demonstrates that it's individuals who want to have control, who believe that these are their possessions, and once you believe that something is your possession and in your control, you don't want anyone else to have control over them, only you, and that control can lead to violence and to murder and killing, and that's what happens all the time. And we can find many reasons and justify whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol. I mean, I listened to the earlier segment, the drinking that happens, the abuse of drugs. That does not give anyone the right to slap you, to beat you up, to kill you. It does not.
Absolutely. And I think it will take, some time before people can actually start to see that as a case in terms of women just being human beings too. But Advocate, thank you so much for your time, of course, unpacking what we are currently seeing in our courts this afternoon. That is Advocate Brenda Madumise-Pajibo, of course, activist for women's rights and director of Wise for Africa.